Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We got Harrison and Sean again tonight. How we doing, fellas?
What's up, fellas?
Evening,
Happy
boys.
4th.
Good. Yeah, happy 4th. Hope you guys have all 10 fingers still. I do. I know that. Yeah. 10 finger check. All right, good.
Yeah,
Surprise.
no
Awesome.
Jason Pierre.
We're good.
No Jason Pierre-Paul here.
Yeah. I'm good. I got them all. But yeah. So before we get going, like, share, subscribe, interact with us on Facebook as much as you can. You can follow us on YouTube. We also post the videos there, and we go live on YouTube there as well if you can't get to Facebook. All right. Leading off tonight, I know we're a little bit behind here, but Freddie Freeman saga continues. We had his agent being fired this week because there was a whole thing that Freddie Freeman wasn't told that the Braves had another offer on the table, and then the agent just kind of swept that one under the rug and was like, nothing to see here. And then when Freddie went back to Atlanta, found out about it, and then madness ensued. How do we feel about that?
Oh, he'd definitely be a Brave if he saw the offer. That's why they didn't show him the offer. He didn't want him to go back to Atlanta. He wanted him to take the money in LA.
Was it more? I didn't see the numbers on the Atlanta deal, but have they even released them?
I don't think so.
Not that I've seen. But if it was more, they would have told him and they would have released it.
Right.
Yeah, think about it this way. If he took less to go to LA, the Braves would have released, we offered him this many years at this.
That's
pay.
True.
You know? But I think Freddie's pissed and I don't blame him. I would be too. I mean, it's a place that you grew up. You just won a World Series with them. You love those guys. Absolutely, he would have taken it. I have no doubt in my mind. And I think the same thing with the agent, which is why he's like, I'm just not going to tell him, which is so shady, so incredibly shady.
Yeah.
Well, and what's funny, though, is when you read into it further, apparently the practice of not presenting all the offers is not uncommon. Because a lot of times there's other pieces intertwined to the deals so they don't show them. And when you think about it, if you're Freddie Freeman, you're a super likable guy, you're a very marketable guy. What market is better for your career long term, Atlanta or Los Angeles? Clearly Los Angeles. There's going to be better opportunities for endorsements and all the other crap that comes with being an LA celeb. However, he really wanted to be in Atlanta, so the agent actually steered him towards LA for the greater opportunity it presented, when in reality, Freddie didn't care about that. He wanted to stay in Atlanta and just play baseball.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they come out and say, man, what the hell do I know about how common or uncommon that is? So if they say it's not uncommon, then I guess that's the case. But I think it all depends on how, Freddie was with that representative agency, whatever, for a while. It wasn't like it was his first go around, with them. And I think it all depends on how Freddie Freeman and they kind of interacted in years past. If Freddie has always been one of those guys that was just like, you know what, I don't need to know everything. Just let me know what you think is the best and we'll roll with it. Then if that's the case, then Freddie doesn't have any reason to be pissed. But if he was always the guy moving forward in years past that was like, hey, I want to know everything that's going on, and then you chose not to tell him, then you're a scumbag.
Right.
And not to be again, middleman Dan, but there's a lot that has to come out that we just don't know. But on its face, I look at that and I blame the agent on its face.
Yeah. I mean, especially if Freddie's like, hey, has Atlanta brought anything to the table? And the guy's like,
well, right, exactly.
No, I haven't seen anything. Right. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely shady.
Right.
And like you said, we don't know the background of the relationships of the agency or the agent directly. But, I mean, there was a picture that was surfacing after all this went down that Freddie Freeman was, back on the bench, sitting and, sulking, and everybody else is up on the fence. I mean, dude, Magic Johnson.
Yeah, I firmly believe, based on all the reports that have been out, so this agent insists Freddie knew about the offer. He knew the rough terms of it, and he still wasn't interested in it. I fully believe that Freddie returned to Atlanta, realized how much he really wanted to be there, feels like his agents didn't make a strong enough push to make that happen, and then fired them out of almost that remorse of, now I've gone back and realized how much I loved it here. Because there's been reports all along, he's not super happy in LA. He's not loving being out in LA like he thought he might. And I think he's got wicked bad buyer's remorse right now at having signed that contract, and this was the fall guy. because there are indications that he saw at least some of that final offer, maybe not the whole thing. The agent insists he presented it. MLB insiders say it's not uncommon for the offers not to all get fully disclosed. So there's a lot of kind of he said, she said, and all this. But it's ironic that the day after his return and the emotional ceremony, he fires his representation because he's angry about his free agency period, which I think was him having wicked bad buyer's remorse and needing somebody to blame.
Well, I mean, no matter how this story comes out, like, you have to fire your agent anyways, right? If you're Freeman, no matter what the outcome was, if you found this out, like, the only outcome is to be like, hey, like, I'm going to go to Scott Boras now. Thanks, though. Like,
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, in reality, he's got a 6-year deal for all that money, and he's not going to need an agent for a little while.
Right. But
he can be unrepresented for the next 5 years. It won't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean,
if we're being honest, the not uncommon practice of not disclosing all the offers is probably right up Scott Boras' alley. I mean, that definitely sounds like the guy that's only going to give you it's only going to bring the most money offers to you. But and again, if Harrison, I mean, it's going to be a he said, right? Like, I disclosed some of it, and he didn't want to know the rest of it, and then Freddie saying I had no idea. Like, we're never going to know.
But you hire Scott Boras knowing that he's going to take the top dollar. You know what I mean? Like, you expect him to not bring every deal to the table. He'd be like, hey, this one gives you the most money. We're signing here. That's it. That's Scott Boras. But
which is exactly what I was saying before. It depends on the relationship that Freddie had with this guy in the years past.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that ultimately is going to tell us who's in the wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and what's funny too is that his agent here, Casey Close, is actually has become a personal friend of his over the years. So this was not an easy one for him to pull the trigger on either, because this is somebody he's been with for a long time that he has a personal relationship with. So I don't know. I feel like the timing of it is funky, and I feel like it might just be Freddie having some buyer's remorse. I mean, I think we all said all along, we thought if he didn't go somewhere like Toronto or something like that, he would go back to Atlanta. Yep. I don't think any of us saw LA as a legitimate contender to get him, or the Yankees. I don't think we saw the Yankees as like making a serious play. And when he signed in LA, I know I was surprised. I never saw him legitimately going out to the West Coast, because it's just not who he is.
Right. Especially with like his kid too. Like, it seemed like his family was rooted there in Atlanta, and it was going to take like a massive deal for him to uproot his family,
right.
So if there was something that was just a couple $1 million off, he had to have been blind to the issue. There's zero chance that like he knew about that offer, no matter what the agent says at this point,
I agree.
Yeah. And I also, when you look at, so Freddie Freeman originally turned down a 6-year 140 offer from them in March, and he ended up signing for 6 years 162 with $57 million of it deferred. So when you actually look at what he's going to net, he only nets about 148. He's making less money in LA than he would have made if he had just gone back, or about the same money if he had just gone back to Atlanta. So I don't know why he didn't take that deal in March.
He probably thought he was going to get to 200 at free. I don't blame anyone for testing free agency.
No.
But I think, and here's the intricacy part of it. Like, I think this might be where he's upset with his agent. Like, I was given advice. You guys are the agents, and you guys represent me. And I was told that I could go out or should go out and test the market, which every player that has the availability to should. Absolutely. So you go out and you're not getting the offers you think you're going to get. If I'm Freddie, I'm assuming that agent is now going to go back to the Braves and go, all right, listen, I know maybe 6 for 140 is off the table from what I declined, but like, how close can we get? Or, where are we? And if that didn't happen, if that part didn't happen, then absolutely I blame Freddie Freeman. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't blame Freddie Freeman. I blame the agent. I'm sorry. Yep. I don't blame Freddie, if that's the case. So I don't know. I don't know.
It seems like a weird situation, and it's strange that we're at this point where he's now, 2+ months into his tenure with a new team, looking across the aisle, wishing he was back over there, and actually getting. I mean, he got some crap publicly from his teammates about his love affair with Atlanta while he's wearing a Dodgers uniform in Atlanta, and Clayton Kershaw talking about LA playing second fiddle, and he's got a clubhouse now who's kind of looking at him going, come on, man, like, really, like, you're in LA now, get over it.
I get what people are saying, but Clayton Kershaw is not the right guy to make that comment. Clayton Kershaw spent his entire career in one organization. If Clayton Kershaw last year left LA and went to a team like Minnesota, you can bet your ass he'd have the love affair when he went back there for that one season.
Oh, sure.
100%.
So that to me is, that's a tone deaf comment from a guy that's played his entire career with one organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a guy who signed an at market or above market long-term deal a long time ago that treated them very well. But it's funny to see a guy who makes his return. He regrets his decision. He's getting crap from his own clubhouse. Like, that whole situation just got weird. And I don't know what it looks like the rest of the season for. I'm not sure how happy Freddie's going to end up being the rest of the season there, and if maybe there isn't an exit for him down the road. But
we'll see.
I don't know. The LA thing, I don't think. I mean, his numbers are okay. He's not having a great season. I don't think he's loving it there.
Okay, sorry. Really side point here. Did you see what's behind home plate tonight at Fenway? It says #vote Devers.
Oh no, I didn't. I know they're making it. It's everywhere though. It's all over social. They got banners outside the ballpark. I mean, they're pushing him everywhere.
Vote Devers in the dirt behind home plate.
I didn't even notice it until you just brought that up.
I just noticed that right now. I was like, dang, that's sick. But yeah, Harrison, you're completely right. Like, the timing of this whole thing is weird. It's fishy. Like you said, you got to Atlanta, you're like, damn, I really miss this place. I really messed up. Like, now I need to blame somebody. Like, it's all kind of weird. Maybe. Right.
But I mean,
but again, it just looks like that.
The thing that keeps coming out, like, and I'm being very hard on the agent right now. I get that, but like, all these things are coming out, right? Is that he's become a close personal friend with this guy, and they become really close over the years. Like, do you just like look at your buddy? Like, I don't look at any of my buddies as like potential fall guys. You know what I mean? Like, like if I became close with somebody, like, I'm not just gonna throw a friend under the bus because I'm unhappy. Like, I'd be much more willing to like stick it out, and like, maybe we have words in private. Maybe I can tell him how unhappy I was with how the whole thing played out, yada yada. But to just like go up and can the guy like right afterwards, like, something had to have happened. If it's true that they became like buddies and friends and they were close, like, something had to have happened for him to be like, I don't care how friendly we are. Like, you got to go.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, an interesting question from Randy here. What about Mookie with the Sox? I think the difference with Mookie and the Sox is that Mookie didn't want to be in Boston. He wanted to go where the money was. He knew it wasn't going to be in Boston. Mookie wanted out of Boston. Freeman never wanted out of Atlanta. He just didn't think he can get the offer that he wanted out of them. So he tested the free agent waters, got a good offer from LA, signed it, and, maybe looking back, wishes he hadn't. But Mookie was not staying in Boston unless they offered him an insane truckload of money.
Well, no, I don't think Mookie, I mean, maybe this is revisionist for me. I don't ever remember Mookie like actively wanting out of Boston, but he actively wanted the most money.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, like, and even when the Red Sox were clear it wasn't going to be them, he continued. That was the direction he was heading.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't like, I don't like it here, I don't like playing for Boston, I want out. It was just once he found out that that's not where the money was, then he just wanted to go make the most money.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He came back and said that. He's like, I have no, no qualms about Boston. I loved it there. I loved my tenure there. Yeah. If I could have stayed, I would have stayed. But like, it does come to them. Like, Mookie was easily top 3 players in baseball at that point.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers that guy was putting up was ridiculous. Like, of course you're going to go get top dollar. Like, I would.
And he even said it earlier this year in an interview that, his time in Boston was the best time of his life, but he was ultimately going to go chase the biggest contract, and he knew it wasn't going to be there. So it wasn't that he didn't want to be in Boston. He didn't want to be in Boston under the terms they were going to offer him. So he was already He knew in that final season that was the last season. He was not coming back.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
for sure.
we can sit here and blame these guys all you want, dude, but until you're being like, hey, we're going to offer you $150 million, but this team over here is going to offer you $350 million. Bye. Like, I love the Red Sox. Don't get me wrong, but like, if I'm the best player in the league and they're going to pay me the most money, like, I'm gone. See ya.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
stupid.
There's no reason to get all romantic about it. When the difference is that, I'm gone. I don't care how much I love the fan base to the ballpark, or if I'm from there, I'm out. See ya.
Right? You go home to your wife and you're like, hey, we're moving. Like, I don't want to move. It's like a $200 million difference. Okay, let's pack up now.
Yeah, see ya.
It's Well,
and it kills me. People make the argument, well, you're never going to be able to spend that money anyways. No, but I'd like the opportunity to try.
But your great grandkids can.
I'm going to set the family up for generations. I'm out of here.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you? Absolutely. Yep. But
it's silly.
We'd all do it.
So if somebody offered you a 50% or 100% pay raise tomorrow to work for a company down the street, we're all gone. See ya.
Yeah, like 100%. that's the dumb, like that. You're never going to spend that money anyways. Like the dumbest argument. It's like, all right, well then you're doing fine. So like, don't take the increase that your work is offering you because you're able to get by now. It's like it's so dumb. Yeah. It's dumb.
I love reading those on the Facebook pages and all that. You know, how much money does this person need? Well, why aren't they going to go get the rest of it? Like, why wouldn't you? That's insane.
Right. Dude, do you know the disgusting, inappropriate things I would do to like have a decent chance at winning like 375 at Powerball? Yeah. Like the disgusting things that I would do.
Dude,
it's like, am I ever going to spend $375 million? No. But like, you bet your ass I would do some pretty grimy things to have it. So like,
dude, I would do it.
I love the honesty.
I love scratch ticket.
Huh?
I would just take $1,000 on a scratch ticket right now. Oh, heck with 375 million, dude. Like, just give me $1,000. Like, life changing for me.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's like 3 years' salary for me as a teacher. Oh, Jesus. All right.
Oh God.
Well, let's move on to the matchups of the last week. I'm gonna start with that Sox and Cubs series. Our bullpen sucks. It's
terrible.
Bad. It is so bad.
Pretty awful.
I mean, the Cubs are what? They're barely a 400 team, and we can't hold them off in the 8th and the 9th inning. I mean, come on, guys. Like, what are we doing? It's brutal.
It's bad. It's bad.
And then they blew that lead against the Blue Jays as well. That 5-4 into the 9th, and then the Blue Jays walk off on them. It's like I mean, bad, so bad.
Yeah, it's not fun to watch. That's for sure.
So the Sox dropped 2 out of 3 in Chicago, right?
And they 2 out of 3 in Toronto, 2 out of 3 in Chicago, and they won the first game against the Rays.
Yep, and they're 3-3 now. But I mean, I don't know what to do with the bullpen. Sale's coming back. We're starting the rookie tomorrow. What's his name? Brian Bayo.
Yeah, Bayo. I think it's pronounced
something like that.
And he throws cheese. I hear, like he's triple digit stuff with like an 85 mile an hour changeup. Like it's gross.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who's gotten like very little press with unbelievable stuff. Like, how does a guy like that stay under the radar?
I think they've been trying to develop him, really, because they said this is like his 5th year as a pro.
Yeah, so Brian Bello.
Bello, yeah.
Well, I think it's pronounced Bayo, though. I think they made a.
Oh, is it a weird pronunciation?
Yeah, I think they made a point to put out the pronunciation as Bayo. I hope so, because I've been saying it like that all day, and I sound like an idiot.
I'm cool with it.
Well, we'll all pronounce it 3 different ways, and one of us will be right. So, but
yeah, exactly.
But and Sale starts his rehab again for the the Woo Sox tomorrow.
Brian Bayo, he's getting May 17th birthday, like me. We're birthday buddies.
Nice.
Wow.
So here's
I'm a couple years older.
So between 21 and 22 so far, this kid's got a 3.14 ERA in the minors. He's K'd 246 batters in 180 innings.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
That's all right. It's okay.
K'd some guys, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Sale's coming, like I said, he's starting in Worcester tomorrow. So we'll see how he does there. Was the buzz around Portland pretty big up there, Harrison, when he started?
Yeah, it was big. That place was absolutely chock full. People, and then people hanging around the area too. You could not get tickets once they announced him starting. They were gone instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to one. This was obviously a long time ago when they were still the Marlins, but when Gary Sheffield had a rehab stint there,
nice.
The same thing, like packed, and then Ortiz was there.
Yeah,
like packed. Like forget it. Like
and Ortiz was there for a couple of games, and that place was a circus.
Yeah, Portland's a circus, anyways, and then you put a star in town, and it's like ridiculous.
Well, not only that, but like it's the lead up to July 4th. All the tourists are here. Like it was already a crazy week. Then you throw that on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But What else for matchups? I mean, I don't want to beat the Red Sox into the ground, but they did not have a necessarily good week. So
No, the Dodgers Padres. The Dodgers pretty comfortably handled the Pods. Took 3 out
Yeah,
of
they
4.
did.
Kind of flexed their muscles and reminded people that they're still the team out there. The Yankees continue to just destroy everybody that they come in contact with. It's to the point now where they're on pace for 117 wins. They've got the lowest ERA in baseball, fewest runs allowed, most runs scored. Like, it is like video game stats that team's putting up right now. It is ridiculous. And I gotta say, when you look at some of the moves that Boone is making, and I'm going to throw up a little bit, he's actually managed that bullpen really well. He's managed the starters that are injury prone really well. He's got Stanton, who's probably stayed the healthiest for the longest of his career in one single stretch, playing well. I mean, and they didn't start out great. Like, that team did not start out great. And I actually think Boone has done a pretty respectable job with that team. Granted, they're loaded, but he's managed. It's a bullpen of nobodies that's lights out. Half your starting staff, most of us didn't know coming out of spring training.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, we may have to actually give Aaron Boone some credit, which makes me absolutely want to vomit.
Right, because he shouldn't even be there to begin with. But
he's awful.
That's another story. But
he's awful.
Yeah, I mean, Nestor Cortez was, carried them for the first month, 2 months. Like, that guy was lights out every time he stepped on the mound.
I mean, half of that pitching staff, most of us couldn't have told you who they were coming out of spring training. But it's just a bunch of power arms.
I don't know. I mean, Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, Jordan Montgomery, Jamison Talion. Jamison Talion was a number 1 overall pick. Like, if you didn't know who Jamison Talion was, you just weren't paying attention.
Right.
Like, they had talented guys.
You got 13 pitchers. I think 4 or 5 of those guys you knew anything about. A bunch of those guys were just massive.
He's saying the bullpen arms. Like, a lot of the bullpen arms,
but you said rotation.
Other than Chapman.
I'm talking like.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the whole staff. The whole staff.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Fair.
Zach Britton's hurt and isn't due back until later this season. You expect him to be the closer. I mean, they've done a decent job, but I will say they've got some power arms that, boy, they can come in and shut the door late in the game.
Yeah, Michael King. Michael King's a fun one to watch, and I don't tune into a ton of Yankees games because I do have a hard time watching them when they're playing this well.
That's awful.
But that Michael King guy can throw.
Dude, he just throws frisbees up there.
And he gets swings and
gross.
He gets swings and misses, and some of the lateral movement on this stuff is like, I don't understand how he gets it. I literally don't understand how he does it.
Sticky stuff.
A slider should not move 2 feet. I mean, what he does,
He's
insane. Throwing up there is gross.
Yeah,
it's gross.
Yeah, it almost looks like he throws a 12-6 curveball, but like 3-9. Like,
it reminds me of the. You remember the old Eckersley slider? It had that like weird, like friggin' sloop, like almost like a slurve. It had that big sweeping motion, or like the Matt Clement when he was at his best with the Red Sox. He had that big sweeping slider.
Mm-hmm.
That thing moves a lot.
But yeah, I mean, they got some other guys in there. What is it, Luis? I can't even say his last name. Loisaga or Loisiga, I think that guy throws cheddar.
Oh yeah, power arms all over the place.
Boone's doing a nice job. I mean, he will.
It's easy when Aaron Judge has already got 30 bombs, and
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at the Yankee numbers, I mean, it's a team that the batting averages are not super high. I mean, the best hitters on that team are high home run, high RBI guys, but they're not big on base guys, and they're not batting average guys. So, I'm not going to keep saying it because I'm just going to keep sounding ridiculous week after week. But like, it's going to get to a point. Like, the teams that last a full season and the teams that go on and make it through a postseason are teams that have a mix of both. Teams that have big power guys, but guys that get on base and can wreak havoc on the base paths and this, that, and the other. The Yankees are just a one-trick pony, and it's impressive that they are what they are on July 5th. It really, truly is. And I think it helps that the pitching has been so good with the ERA for the starters being so low. Like, it helps when you do have those games where you're not 6 home runs. But, I mean, we'll see.
I think
they can win a game by scoring. They can win a game by scoring 2 runs because the pitchers went out and threw a shutout. Or
which
they
hadn't done in years past, right? Like, that was their thing.
No, they've never had that level. They've never had a bullpen that's been this good in a
No.
long time, and they haven't
No,
had the
they
depth
haven't.
of the starters. And and Garrett Cole's still a bit Jekyll or Hyde start to start. But what was most telling for me though was when you look at that Astros series where they got no hit and then what was it, friggin' one hit,
and still
th-
managed to win a
good-
game.
yeah, I mean good pitching can still beat them, very much so. And the Astros are right there with them talent wise. They just haven't put together the same streak because the Astros got off that or record because the Astros got off that horrendous start as they kind of figured things out. But
And they still have
the
52
Astros
wins.
are exactly. The Astros are right on their tail.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Verlander, talk about pitching.
Yeah.
Like this guy gets his elbow fixed and it's like
Cy Young.
lights out Verlander again. Like
Cy Young again.
Yeah.
Insane.
And Randy's point here, the Yankees have been infamous the last couple seasons from having that nasty 30 to 45 day stretch when like half the team goes down injured, and they have been super healthy to this point. And I keep resting on the fact they're bound to hit that stretch at some point when Stanton misses 30 days and Judge misses 30 days and a bunch of other guys do too. But boy, to this point, those guys look healthy and strong and aren't slowing down.
We thought a couple weeks ago that might have been it because like Stanton went down with like a calf for like 4 or 5 days, but like came right
Donaldson
back
was out, Stanton was out.
Yeah.
And then
so
all of a sudden
we were like,
those guys,
here it comes, and then
those guys come back 3 days later, and it's like nothing happened.
Yeah, crazy. Do you guys get a chance to look at matchups for this upcoming week? What do we got this week?
Sadly, I mean, Rays, Red Sox, Braves, Cardinals. The schedule this week stinks.
And Yankees, Sox this weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
this weekend.
The weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of the Astros playing the Royals. Who cares? White Sox, Twins. The White Sox aren't exciting to watch.
Pirates and Reds doubleheader. Let's go.
I know. That'll be an interesting one. But it's a lot of top teams, lower half teams, and it's going to be a lot of ugly series.
It's all right. It's the dog days of July. I mean, that's kind of what it's kind of what we expected this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got honestly, there's matchups on the schedule like you would have thought would have been good, like Dodgers, Cubs for the weekend. Not interesting.
Right.
Blue Jays, Mariners for the weekend. Not interesting. Phillies, Cardinals. Not interesting.
Twins, Rangers.
You've got teams that you thought would be more fun to watch that just aren't.
Yeah.
If you showed me this schedule of this week in April, I would have been excited about it. You look at it now, and half those matchups don't mean anything because you got teams that are just not in it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I do think I agree with Randy. We already mentioned. I think Cardinals Braves will be fun. That'll be a good series. Those are two teams that play a very similar style of baseball too.
Yeah, and the Braves lineup is just continuing to just mash week after week. I mean, they're not slowing down. They are not slowing down. They are.
No.
They rake. They absolutely rake.
Yeah, they're impressive. They just continue to hit.
It's
one day it's home runs, the next day it's singles and doubles they beat you with.
Yeah,
it's just,
right.
You don't know. And the
and
pitching's been good.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is like that was the thing we talked about last postseason was like all these pitchers are overachieving. We thought. But I mean, they're proving right now that like they're still good. And they don't even have Kenley Jansen right now to shut out games. Like he's out.
Yeah.
I think probably Will Smith is probably taking the closing role right now.
Yep.
That'd be my guess. But yeah, it's insane. But yeah. All right. We'll move on to players of the week where we had, who did we have, Harrison?
So players of the week were Phillies first baseman Rhys Hoskins and Mariners outfielder Julio Rodriguez. So Hoskins was let's see, where was the stat line? Hoskins was no, hang on, that's his month-long hot streak. He's been basically tearing it apart for a month. So over the last month, Rhys Hoskins has 17 extra base hits, 17 runs scored, 17 RBIs, 17 walks over his last 26 games. The Phillies have been 17-9 during that span.
Isn't his number 17?
Apparently, is his number 17?
No, I think like
it is. No, his number is 17. It's all 17s.
His player number is 17 too, right?
Yeah. So last week he led the majors in
Is it?
home runs with 4.
I don't.
Yeah, it's
I'm
the
trying
regular
to
season,
think. What?
which is creepy.
Sorry.
But
Go ahead, Harrison.
So last week alone, he led the majors in home runs with 4, slugging at 1158, OPS at 1678. But he's been in a month-long hot streak. When that's really his hot streak was the beginning of the Phillies going on that winning streak.
Yeah.
They were 17-9 since he's picked it up, and they've also won 5 of 8 since Harper got hurt. So a lot of their turnaround has been kind of Hoskins waking up. And then Julio Rodriguez, who we were talking about, he so last week he had a 1.273 OPS, 3 homers, 7 runs scored, 6 RBIs, and then added an additional stolen base, and he leads the AL with 20 steals. But in the month of June, he's hit 299 with 14 dingers and 32 RBIs.
He is the fastest player. He is the fastest player to get to 15 home runs and 20 stolen bases in a career, and he's done it in 81 games.
Yeah, in his first 81 games. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, like we were talking before we got on, though, like he had a brutal start in April. Like he
bad.
had a really slow start. So he's, doing that, yes, in 81 games, but really a whole lot less than 81 games. The chunk of them have come in May and June.
Well, he just said 14 home runs in June. He's got 15.
Right.
total.
Yeah. Right.
So,
right. 14 out of 15. Right. Yeah.
Right. He didn't start hitting until like mid-May, and then he just blew up.
Yeah. Crazy.
But, yeah. So Hoskins and Julio Rodriguez, and for the record, that's the second Mariner to win Player of the Week, with Ty France getting it earlier in the year. And then also, I guess I should mention Rodriguez. He was also the AL Rookie of the Month for June, along with Player of the Week this week.
Shocker.
Makes sense.
I know it's duh.
Yeah.
But
so that kind of goes into talking about like Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Harper. It kind of goes into our rounding third question a little bit, where we asked what injury or injuries have hurt their team the most right now. Like Dodgers with Betts and Bueller, you have Bryce Harper going out with a thumb, Scherzer, DeGrom, Ozzie Albies being out for the Braves. We got some interesting takes here. Let's see. We got one from Henry. He said the Phillies losing Harper is the major, team trying for the wild card after falling behind early. Losing him is big. Doug said Chris Sale, James Paxton, and Garrett Whitlock being out for the arms.
I think that one, if we want to sit on that one for a hot second, I think that one goes underrated, because I think people look at the Red Sox pitching going into the year going, oh, the pitching's not very good, so like one arm's not going to make a difference. But the pitching has not really been the Red Sox problem. It's been the bullpen, but it hasn't been the starting rotation. So I do think the Sale Whitlock thing, in hindsight, is a really big injury, because that's a starter in Sale that can pitch every 5 days, when he's healthy. But that frees Whitlock up to be your 8th or 9th inning guy, which has been their biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like those 2 injuries have kind of been huge for the Red Sox, unfortunately. Like huge in a bad way, not a good way.
Yeah, right. No,
Yeah,
I agree.
So,
I think that, because to your point, where Sale is out and you've got to move people around, you've pulled a guy who would have been a key late inning arm and had to move his role, which isn't a great fit for him. He hasn't been bad, but it's not his best use. But it's left you exposed at the back end, which has hurt them a lot. So I agree. I think we all thought the pitching wouldn't be good.
And you think it how good and everyone's going to have stinker outings every now and again, right? But you look at generally how good like a John Schreiber has been since they've lately had to turn to him. Imagine if you have Whitlock for the 9th, lock, stock, and barrel, most games, right? You got to give him a rest every now and again, but most games, he's your 9th inning guy, right? All of a sudden, you can start using Schreiber in the 6th and the 7th to really get out of jams. Like now you're only asking your starters to go 5. They've been great anyways, and now you only got to go 5 or 6. Like you're really shortening the game with just a couple more arms. You don't need that many more guys, just a couple more consistent guys.
Yeah, and you're naturally giving those guys roles, like we've talked about all year.
Yeah,
that just naturally falls into place where, like, oh, you got the 6th and the 7th, you got the 9th, like you just get us to the 5th, and we're good. like the rest of it falls into place instead of being like, we're gonna use freaking Robles in the 3rd, Robles in the 11th, Robles in the 7th.
But then it also, again, with defined roles, it also makes things easier for guys like Matt Strahm. Like I don't love Matt. I don't love Matt Strahm. I'm not the biggest Matt Strahm guy, but like I do kind of feel bad in the sense.
It's the hair.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I wish I could grow hair like that. No, I tend to feel bad for him because maybe it's just the games that like I'm like into. Like I just feel like this guy gets put in such tough spots. Like it's just like it's like anytime there's a tough late inning spot, like no outs and 2 guys on, we're gonna go to the pen. In comes Matt Strahm. I'm like, this poor bastard's gonna give up a walk off, and then everyone's gonna hate on Matt Strahm, and he's thrown 3 pitches.
Right.
You know, like I just feel bad for the guy. I feel like he just gets such a raw deal sometimes. But
and an interesting stat, so the Red Sox have 2 pitchers in the top 25, statistically in the top 25 advanced stats. Number 13 is Nick Pivetta. Nobody would have bet that. Number 24 is Michael Wacha. Pavetta's ranked ahead of Shohei Ohtani.
If you asked me, I've maybe missed 5 or 6 Red Sox games this year. If you asked me, I would have told you I would have put Walker ahead of Pivetta.
Oh, absolutely.
Walker, and the fact that he's that far ahead of him in advanced stats is kind of
honestly
surprising.
And it's only because Pavetta's got more starts, more innings, and more decisions. If Wacha didn't miss some time, I bet Wacha's probably top 10. I mean, Wacha was in the top 10 till he missed a couple of starts.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, the Red Sox pitching has been, their starters have been good. The bullpen has been a friggin' roller coaster ride.
A kid I used to play college ball with, Andy Exley, he said easily injuries to the pitching staff. So any pitching staff, really. Good arms, especially at the major league level, are hard to replace, whereas position players have layers of backups. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, he didn't name anything. He didn't name anybody specifically, but just said great pitching is hard to replace, whereas position players, you can plug and pull. And you're not missing as much, there's a bigger gap with good
Are you boys
pitching.
seeing this you seeing this in the Sox right now?
No.
What, Pivetta
No, he missed his spot. He missed his spot up. Like it was up and in a little bit, but he missed his spot, and Diaz really seems to be throwing a stink right now. And Pavetta's just like, get the hell back in the box. Like, what's the deal?
Right, because Diaz took him off the wall earlier in the game, so he's probably thinking
he missed
trying
the
to hit
spot
him on purpose.
I don't think he was trying to do that. I think it tailed in and he missed the spot. But
Dude,
it's
a 3-3 ball game. He's not going to put somebody on base for free right now. Silly. Get back in the box, dude. Crybaby. Yeah.
Oh,
probably didn't even miss that much. Oh, dude, that wasn't. Come on now.
Yeah, these guys
wasn't even close.
They're babies. He just wants to showboat and make a scene and be on SportsCenter.
Oh my god!
But you've also got Evaldi coming back.
These young
you got
kids,
Evaldi coming back for the Red Sox too, which is going to help.
Should help. Should certainly help.
Dude, that's silly. But
to your buddy's point, Nick, I'll say the one that everyone looked at and said it was going to be the biggest negative, I think has, in a weird way, turned out to be one of the most positive injuries, in a sense, is Scherzer and DeGrom in New York. I mean, you lost your 2 best starters by far, but 2 of the best starters in the National League are 1-2 in the same rotation. You lost them early. I mean, DeGrom didn't even start the season. Scherzer goes out early in the season. His first start back tonight. The Mets still have a pretty decent hold on the division, although the Braves are playing really, really well. Still one of the best teams in the National League. They're finding ways to win. Their offense is showing up at times. They're getting good contributions from replacement starters in their bullpen. And Edwin Diaz, I saw some stat. Edwin Diaz, this late in the season, has struck out like 47% of the batters he's faced, which is like outrageous.
It's gross.
Like, it's like struck out 47% of the batters he's faced, and it's July.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
That's outrageous. So, as a Met fan, with a healthy all year, absolutely no question asked. But to see this kind of like toughness and battle from a team like this while losing those guys early on when they could have easily said, not our year, And now you get these guys back just before the All-Star break, right before the trade deadline. Maybe Scherzer's looked good so far. Maybe DeGrom looks good in his first start back. They're feeling good. You go make the move. You know, you make one key acquisition at the trade deadline, and you're banging on all cylinders.
Yeah.
You know, so that's big for them. That was big for them.
Or you just signed Michael Conforto off the couch. He's
Dude,
still out there.
I cannot believe. I still can't.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I still can't believe it.
How does he not have a job? Or have I missed it? I didn't hear him signing anywhere.
Unless we've all missed it.
I mean, we could have, but I mean, I haven't heard anything about Michael Conforto. But
no, he's still a free agent.
It's crazy, dude.
There's
no team out there. At this point, if you're Conforto and you just want to play, man, like just sign a league minimum deal and get on a team.
Okay, so hold on. So I see something that was from May 17th, so like a month and a half ago. So Scott Borson's is his agent. And they won't be able to determine if Conforto is going to be able to play this season until late August because there's a status that they need to receive from his physical therapist and surgeon. So he must have had surgery on something in the offseason. So I'm thinking teams are just like, why kick the door down now? It's not going to be till late August at the earliest. So he's currently out in Arizona right now rehabbing from the surgery.
Do they have minimum games to play playoffs? Can you sign somebody the week before the playoffs and you can't, right? Because we signed Jose Iglesias at the end of last year and he couldn't play.
Yeah, there's a cutoff. You got to be on the roster by a certain date to be allowed to be on the playoff roster.
But I don't think you have to play a certain number of games, Nick. But I think you have to be on the roster at a certain time. Right,
correct.
At a certain time.
Okay, that's what I meant. Like that must be like what, August 31st? Or probably something like that. August.
I would say probably when they do the September call-ups, right? I would say that's probably
around
when
they expand
that time.
the 40-man rosters.
I don't know. Right. Yeah. But I don't know.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Well, we got a lot to tackle here in the heading home segment, so we might as well get started here. My Cincinnati Reds are 27-52, still in last place in the MLB, and they're behind by 2 games. So the Royals are running away with it right now. They aren't gonna come close. But
real quick with the Royals. Did you guys see was it the Royals Tigers on Peacock? The game that was on Peacock?
No, missed it.
Okay, so they had a game. It was a Royals Tigers game that was shown on Peacock. And it was broadcast with no broadcasters. It was just the camera and then like the boom mics around the stadium, but there was no play-by-play, no color guy, no sideline. So it was just, if you tuned in to watch it, it was just the sounds of the stadium.
Like a spring training game almost.
Kind of.
That's what Fox needs to do when they have Joe Buck. Like, just get Joe Buck out of there and then just listen to the game.
I was waiting for you to throw Joe Buck into the bus, but
can't.
I don't know.
Did it seem weird or like was it cool?
I tuned in for less than an inning. I'll be honest with you.
So then it wasn't good.
It didn't necessarily seem weird on the broadcast side because it's like, I mean, it's just like you were at the game.
Right.
You know, like when you're at the game, like when you're at the stadium, like you don't get the play-by-play. Like it's just, you know, we've been to enough games. It's kind of like that. I felt kind of bad though. Like I thought it was a neat idea at first. And then I saw this guy, I don't know, some guy that just popped up on my Twitter. I thought it was a really good point. And he's like, there's a lot of like young aspiring broadcasters out there that would have easily signed on to do a Major League Baseball game. And you wouldn't have to pay them a ton of money, but to get exposure and to get out there.
At all.
Well, yeah, but to get exposure and to get out there and give them experience at calling a Major League Baseball game, and they decided to go with no one, is just kind of like a lazy. But I have no idea if it was because did they back out last minute? I don't know. Or was it like a plan all along? Like I didn't look too much into it. But I did find it somewhat interesting for the inning that I tuned into. Like it was interesting.
Yeah. I still always go back to when Baltimore had all the riots and it was Gary
Thorne.
His name. He usually and he does the Masters, but he did a full inning in the Masters voice when he was like, "There's a fly ball deep to center field,
Yeah.
and it's over the head of Adam Jones. He grabs it, throws it back in a second, safe."
Gary Thorne's awesome.
Like, like, oh my god, it was amazing. He did it all in like the golf voice.
He used to do ESPN Sunday Night Baseball on the radio.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was great.
So he would be like the Orioles color guy, like the play-by-play guy, like on their regional station, and then Sunday nights he'd like fly out and do that for ESPN Radio. Gary Thorne, top 5 voice, such a good announcer.
Oh yeah. I loved it. It was just so cool to like hear like a baseball game like in just a different tone, you know, like in the golf voice. It was awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get to it. The last of the City Connect jerseys were released for the year. Thank freaking God. What, like, come on, guys. These are brutal.
If you're going to get wild, get wild. I have no issues with any of them, Nick. If you're going to get wild, get wild.
Dude, I mean, these. If you have not seen the San Diego Padres ones, they are wild, I guess is how you want to describe it.
They are wild. I'm not saying they're my favorite ones, but like.
I mean, the hats would be really cool if they were like brown with like gold lettering, you know, like that's what I'm thinking. But
get out of here.
I don't know. It looks like they gave kids a set of finger paints that, hey kids, make us a jersey.
Yeah, and I get they're trying to get like the Hispanic culture, I think, of it, and like because San Diego is a very big Hispanic population, and I get that that's what they're trying to do. But I don't like the layout of the uniforms, I guess. I don't know. They're just not, those ones aren't my favorite. And I was hoping that San Diego is going to have some good ones, but.
Yeah, I put a link in the chat so people can actually go see the unveiling of them. But it's bold.
I think we need to collectively, like as a podcast, as a group, as just a people, I think we need to change our expectations on what we expect these City Connect jerseys to be, because like San Diego, if you go back to like the Tony Gwynn Padre uniforms, it would have been awesome to do something like off of that, right? Like you bring that back and like maybe change the design a little bit, but like you're going back. But every team is going like
way out,
to use a baseball term, out of left field, right? Like just out of left field. And I think it's because everyone's trying to do something so incredibly ridiculously different. And it's just like, it's now becoming like a challenge on who can have the most ridiculous looking uniforms.
Yeah.
So I think we just need to like stop expecting things to like come out good and just embrace the fact that they're just gonna be shitty uniforms.
And see, that's why I think the Angels ones are my favorite, because
I agree.
They weren't so far out there that they were like actually done nice. It had a little bit of futuristic stuff. It had a little bit of throwback in there. Like it was a great mix of the two.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I'm gonna go back on what I said. Like the Washington ones are starting to grow on me a little bit. Like just because the other ones are that freaking bad, like I have to almost put them in the number 2 spot because all the other ones are terrible.
I almost wore the hat for you tonight.
You should have.
Almost.
Oh man. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we still got what, 15 more in the next couple of years here. I mean, they've only done half the league. So
yeah. Well, and I get what San Diego is trying to accomplish, and I don't hate the colors. I just hate how many of them are happening at the same time. It is insanely distracting. Like, I actually don't hate the green Padres hat with the red logo on it. Like, I actually think that looks decent. But it's like it's the one green sleeve, the one red sleeve, the text that's cut by colors. Like it's insanely distracting to look at because there's so much going on. But I don't hate the general color scheme. It's just too friggin' busy. It hurts to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you said it was like all one solid color, or
like I think the hat looks cool. The green hat with the red, that's a cool looking hat.
Yeah, but I agree, and I mean generally I've liked the hats better than I've liked the jerseys overall. But
yeah, I 100% me too, 100% me too, Nick.
Yeah, well, and I like Randy's comment. You know, I've always enjoyed the Padres camouflage as because that's a throwback to the military presence they've got in San Diego, and a nice kind of nod to that. This was trying to go after the Spanish and Mexican demographic. That's a big piece of the San Diego culture. Cool. I don't know that that's exactly what the color scheme and all that. Sure, it feels it has that flair to it, but it doesn't. It's just too hard to look at.
The best comment I saw when these came out, it said they went from UPS to retro Taco Bell. I was like, it's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Like that was the best comment I saw like the entire time. Like just, oh my God, out of control. But yeah, I mean, Sean, I guess you're right. Like at this point, you got to like almost expect that they're going to be absolutely horrendous and be like, oh, well, that one wasn't too bad. But like,
right. Well, yeah, we have to look at it the other way. It's going to have to be looked at as, I love these. It's going to be, I don't hate these. Like that's what the moving forward is going to be.
Right.
It's fair. I mean, we have to expect them to be kind of ridiculous.
I can't wait for the Blue Jays to come out with just like a Maple Leaf sweater on, like just a full on Toronto Maple Leafs like hockey sweater. Like that's what I want theirs to be. I don't care. Like,
I'll tell you this, Nick. If they did that, they'd be my favorite ones.
Oh, for sure, dude.
It would be my favorite ones, hands down. If they did that.
Imagine if the cities did. I mean, Pittsburgh would be the same because they're obviously all black and yellow. But imagine if like they had alternate jerseys where like their jerseys were the color schemes as like one of the other professional sports in their towns. Like I think that would be kind of cool. Like
absolutely.
Like the Red Sox when they're supporting like the Celtics when they're in the playoffs, like put them in their green unis, or like Chicago Cubs like become the Bulls like for a game, like they're in all red, which I think they've done before. I might be wrong, but I think something like that to support other teams in your city would be kind of cool to do. But I mean,
absolutely.
I don't want to get too crazy on the MLB here, but that's just just a thought. All right, let's keep going then because we can drop those City Connect jerseys because I mean. They keep dropping them in the dumpster.
How many more City Connect jerseys come out this season?
I think that was it.
That was the last one, and then the rest.
That was the last one. Okay.
Come out next year,
and then the rest of them will come out now. I think there's like 10 left, Nick, or 8.
So.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think there's 15 because there was only 6 last year. I think right. Red Sox, White Sox, Diamondbacks,
Cubs.
Giants, Dodgers, which is the worst one ever. The
Dodgers. I don't.
Oh yeah, that was
what?
Complete lack of originality on that one.
And like all blue, like just all blue. Like okay, like change that one up. I think there was 6. Oh, Marlins, so 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then that
so 7 and 6, 7 and like 8 this year, which is 15, and then it brings us to that for next year. Yeah. So that makes sense.
Cool.
So math is hard. Anyways, the Pittsburgh Pirates last week, their young kids have had a week and a half. O'Neal Cruz hit one out of PNC Park, not just out of PNC Park, dead center out of PNC Park. Like, kid is ridiculous. They had 2 3-home run games by rookies. I don't know if they were by rookies, but one of them was because one of them was a walk-off homer that we talked about last week. And then the Tuesday night, they had another kid hit a 3-home run game back-to-back nights. So the Pirates had 2 players have 3 home run games back-to-back nights. And then you mix O'Neal Cruz in there. I mean, goodness. If they can keep their young kids, I think they're going to be all right. I mean, their draft picks are finally starting to come up. But I also posted on the Rounding Third page about all the pitching that they've given away in the last 8 years.
It's scary.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Disgusting. It's Garrett Cole. It's Jamison Tyon. It's Shane Baz. It's McClanahan. And there was one more that was ridiculous. I was just like, come on.
Yeah, they would have like the most dominant staff in baseball if they were able to retain those guys, and they were all basically drafted and grown up there, and then off they went.
Yeah. Imagine if they just retained half of them.
Yeah, right.
Like not even all of them. let's say you let Talion go because he couldn't stay healthy, and Garrett Cole was worth too much money. You still have Shane Baz, McClanahan,
and they're young.
what?
Yeah,
And they're young.
yeah, they're crazy young.
And McClanahan is that one might be the most
Oh.
painful of all of them because he's still stupid young and ridiculously good. Well, and Randy's comment, this is not like the Pirates started doing this a few years ago. They've been doing this for friggin' ever.
Yeah,
Developing talent, letting them go.
Yeah, it's still hard to watch though, to see. I mean, the Pirates were there. Like, they had the talent. Like, they had Marte. We've talked about this. McCutcheon, like all those guys. Tyler Glasnow was another one. Clay Holmes was the other one.
Glasnow.
Charlie Morton. Joe
Charlie
Musgrove.
Morton, though, I don't blame them for Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton didn't really blow up until a lot later.
No, but
I don't blame them for Charlie Morton.
Joe Musgrove.
Yeah, Joe Musgrove. Yeah,
that was another one too. But yeah, goodness gracious. So McClanahan wasn't in that. It was Morton, Cole, Glasnow, Baz. I knew it was two Rays, but it was Glasnow and Baz.
Yeah.
And then Musgrove, Tyon, and Clay Holmes. I mean, and Clay Holmes. Yeah. Goodness gracious. So Tyon and Holmes went in that Yankees deal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So which deal?
The one in 21 when Jameson Tyon went to the Yankees.
Oh,
Holmes went with him.
Oh, okay.
It was the same year.
Yeah, so the Pittsburgh Pirates in June hit 44 home runs as a team, which is one short of their team record for home runs in a month of 45. They went 10-18.
Yeah, I mean, but that's as laugh out loud ridiculous as Ohtani having 2 3-run bombs, 8 RBIs in the same game, and they never led once.
Right.
Not only did they lose the game, they never even had the lead. The guy had 2 3-run bombs and 8 RBIs, and they never led the game. Dude, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
I commented on the MLB page the other day because it had Ohtani, and it was just like headlines everywhere. And I go, Ohtani hits 2 home runs. Trout hits 3 home runs. The Angels lose 16-5.
It's unbelievable.
It's just unreal.
Well, so get this. So the Pirates started June. They swept the Dodgers, smoked them. Then they took 2 or 3 from the Diamondbacks. They started the month 5-1, and then they lost 11 of the next 12 and finished the month 10-18.
Pittsburgh,
and hit 44 home runs.
Oh,
I mean, they were averaging more than 2 a game.
Fellas,
it's terrible.
It's just so bad. I mean, the talent, they've got so much talent.
Yeah. Goodness. So while we're on the topic of home runs, Derek Hall for the Philadelphia Phillies gets called up, hits 2 home runs in his major league debut. Oh, and then by the way, homers the next night too.
Yeah.
So 3 home runs in his first 2 major league games. It's like, well, welcome to the bigs, kid.
It won't
crazy.
stay that easy forever.
Cool. Right? I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean,
ask
I would have
Nava
to
how
say,
easy it is.
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean, I can't remember the last, and I mean, I might just be making stuff up, but I don't remember the last time that I've been this excited about young kids coming up. I mean, with Guerrero Jr. and Tatis, a couple of years ago, that was okay, these guys are here.
Yep.
They're phenomenal. But it seems like the brand of kids that are coming up year after year are just making an instant impact on these teams. I mean, you look at Julio Rodriguez, I mean Bobby Witts in Kansas City, but these kids are coming up and making immediate impact, right away. And I mean, I don't know the last time that young kids have been that important to a team ever, really.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a bunch of things. I mean, I think the kids now take it very seriously. The training in the off season and the training when they're younger and the getting themselves as prepared as they possibly can be for being able to get there as young as possible. I think they do a good job. I'm going to have a hard time ever complimenting Major League Baseball. But I think the young players themselves do a good job of promoting themselves, whether it be through social media, stuff like that. So I think it's you're scrolling through Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and you're, seeing some of these guys in the batting cage, or you're seeing some of these guys at batting practice, or something that they did when they were 18 years old in senior year in high school or whatever. And it makes you look forward to seeing the name on the big stage. Like, I think all that stuff plays a role too, as to why you get so excited. But then they're just really goddamn good, man. They're just really good baseball players. And they're just, at the end of the day, they're just really good baseball players.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, they're training year round, and they're not just training. Like, these guys are putting in 8 to 9 hours a day when they're 15, 12 years old to 16 years old.
And it's not just strength training. It's hand-eye coordination. Right. It's bat speed. They're using all these tools that are available to them, which they should be using. It's great, but to figure out how to get your bat speed that much quicker, or figure out how to get your hands from A to B that much quicker, and everything's analyzed. So they're taking advantage of it, and good for them. But yeah, I mean, it's a year-round process for them just to get ready to play. Right. They're not showing up 30 pounds overweight, half hungover to spring training. Like, that's not how it works anymore.
They're not Joe DiMaggio bagging groceries in the off season because like these kids are working on it, since they're 12 years old, if not younger now. I mean, the academies that are around nationwide now. It's just. I mean,
I think baseball and hockey. I think that's why you're seeing it with such studs in the game being so young. It's a year-round thing for them. It's year-round. It's a business. It's not a game. It's a business. And this is how I'm gonna make all my money. And they take it very seriously. And good for them. I mean, but it shows.
Absolutely. Yeah. So kind of to bring it back a little bit to last week when we talked about the Seattle brawl, they had Archie Bradley, one of their relievers, broke his elbow in the brawl, so he's on the IL. Jazz Chisholm went on the IL this week. I don't know when he's coming back, and I didn't see what he went down with. I thought his camp was a little quiet this week, but
last I saw he was on the 10-day IL, because I don't know if they've got a real answer yet.
Gotcha.
It's a back injury.
Ooh. So that's been interesting too.
Yeah, he's on the 10-day IL with a right lower back strain. They think it's just a muscular thing, so he's going to need a little bit of rest. And they've got him working out in Florida. He was down in Florida today working out to see if he can get it loosened up, and they've been doing like some table work and stuff like that with him. But the fear is, if this is not just a simple kind of like overexertion of a muscle, that he could be out a while.
Man.
Yeah.
Talk about
and they're saying that real quick about Ty France, Randy. Yeah. Last I heard about Ty France, I don't even think he's hit on a field yet. Like, I think he's not close to coming back. He has that elbow injury, and I think they're being cautious. And I don't know, but the last I saw, let me look something up for you right now. Let's see.
Yeah. So yesterday, Scott Service let everybody know that he won't be activated from the 10-day IL when he's eligible on Monday.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a grade 2 left flexor strain. He's not resumed hitting, and they won't even consider bringing him back till he can get out on the field and hit. So
yeah,
they're hopeful they'll hopeful the next few days in some workouts he'll be able to loosen up and get back to it, get back to hitting. Yeah. But as of right now, there's not a definitive return.
And all these injuries to these all-stars kind of, I mean, Machado's back. I saw him today, but you got Chisholm, you got Harper's out, France is out. Like, all these guys were going to be possibly all-star starters, and they're out. Like, we're going to have an all-star B team here on July 18th because everyone's out.
Well, and we talked about it coming out of spring training. The expectation around the league was you were going to see more injuries this year. The rushed spring training, shortened spring training, guys were going to get in, and after a month or two where they hadn't had the same ramp up period, we're going to start to drop with these kind of, overexertion, strains, stuff like that kind of injuries, and we're seeing it. We're seeing elbows, shoulders, backs. I mean, Jazz Chisholm has a back problem. I mean, this is a kid. Nick's got back problems because he's old, but
we did talk about it. I'm surprised it kind of took this long, Harrison. I thought it was going to happen middle of May, end of May. Yeah, I'm surprised it took kind of into June for us to hit it. But I don't think any of us are surprised really at all.
No, it is a shame to see these guys go down. And one guy I meant to mention during the rounding third of the injury piece that kind of has gone under the radar is Anthony Rendon out in Anaheim.
Yeah.
He was finally having a good season. He starts to have this wrist problem May 8th. The team starts to tank a week later when he just can't hit anymore. And a week later he's gone, and that lineup's been a mess ever since because they can't find a home for the players to take his spot. But that's another, it's a subluxation of a wrist, another overuse kind of muscle type thing.
Yeah.
It's, you got key pieces dropping everywhere.
Yeah, creepy. So Riley Green finally got called up by the Tigers, and he was like the number 2 prospect behind Adley Rutschman. He hit his first home run, his first career home run. Oh, it was a walk-off. Like tanked it to center field. First career home run was a walk-off home run.
It was a bomb.
Like the absolute bomb.
Well,
that was kind of cool.
What's cool is that was the second of a back-to-back to win that game.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. I only saw the highlight of the walk-off.
Yeah, so Victor Reyes hit the first one, then Riley Green hit the second one. They went back-to-back in the 9th inning to win that game 4-3.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, and the Tigers are now 182 on the season.
And Javi Baez is still terrible.
Oh, goodness gracious. The Twins had a triple play last week. I don't know if you saw that base running debacle.
That was so bad.
That was so bad. The runners take off. There's an average fly ball to the warning track. Buxton goes back, makes the catch, and the other 2 runners on base are just running. They just
so bad.
Took off like they had 2 outs. And
literally, the scoring of the triple play went 8-5. That's it. Buxton caught it, threw it to third. That was the whole play. That recorded 3 outs. Horrendous.
Tag the runners, tag second base. That was it. Ending on
absolutely horrendous. And it's
goodness gracious.
and it's Yohan Moncada who's prone to have these brain farts. And I don't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, just crazy.
I don't know what he's doing.
I'm convinced that when the Red Sox went down to Cuba and they spent all that Yohan Moncada and the Rusney Castillo and all that money that was spent on those guys, I'm convinced that they never even watched them play a baseball game. I think they saw a batting practice, and I think they were like, wow, these kids can hit. Like, look at how far those balls go. But they never actually watched them play a baseball game, and they were just like, we don't care. They must be good. Like, that was outrageous.
Right.
Now, I'll give Moncada a little bit of credit. Like, he did have a pretty decent, like, kind of young career in the minor leagues on all that stuff. But holy moly, as bad as the Chris Sale contract has been, we still won that trade with how bad Castillo – Moncada has been in Chicago. We still won that trade.
No, I mean, it's hard to argue. Tony was running a great program over there. They were all drunk. They were all drunk, just like Tony was. I don't know, but
dude, that Rusney Castillo deal is way worse than the Carl Crawford and Adrian Gonzalez deal.
I know, but at the same time,
$85 million to be a career AAA player.
But the funny part is Castillo was a 2-time team MVP. He was an all-star at 2 different levels of the minors. He was in the futures game, and yet that guy never got a chance in the big leagues. Like, part of me wonders if they just said, hey kid, just come play. Like, if this was Detroit and it was like, hey, just go play every day, like, would he have been a decent major leaguer? Because the guy, except for the last season or 2, was actually pretty good in the minors. They just had no place for him.
Yeah, but so was like Lars Anderson was pretty good in the minors too, but he's not a major league ball player.
Well, he was.
I mean, career minor league,
right?
Right. I mean, Castillo was slightly better than him, but I do wonder, like, was there talent there they never got to because there was no home for him? Was he a leftover that Dombrowski didn't want? Like, what was the story behind Castillo? Because they kept him around for way too long with that kind of money.
There's got to be a reason that they didn't give him a legitimate shot at the bigs, because there's no way John Henry and company shells out that contract and then is okay with Dombrowski or whomever being like, we're just going to keep him in the minors. Like, something had to have happened. Like, they must have got reports from the minors being like, this kid, this is just as good as he's going to get. Like, he ain't going to get any better. Right. Like, there's got to be. right? Because if you're going to shell out that kind of money, Henry's going to want to see some return on investment on that kid. And they just didn't give. Do you remember when he misplayed that ball in right field? He just couldn't find the ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then didn't try to find it. He just stood there. Do you remember? And it landed 15 feet away. It's like, go find the ball, dude.
Oh yeah. He wasn't even near it. It was.
No, but he didn't even try. He was then just standing there. He's just looking up at this guy. It was unbelievable.
No, I mean it's insane. I'll never understand what the hell happened with that with this guy. Why he sat in Pawtucket for so long.
Oh,
it was pretty bad. But I mean, if you're Rusney Castillo, I mean, you're just there to collect your check at that point. Why even why even bother? Why even try?
Well, and apparently there
right?
were major league teams that offered Castillo contracts when he finally walked away from the Red Sox, and he said, "I'm done with MLB," and he's playing over in Japan right now.
Crazy.
But it's weird. The whole thing is weird.
So what's a worse contract, Carl Crawford or Rusney Castillo?
Oh, both by far. Crawford.
Carl Crawford.
That was the worst signing probably ever.
Jeez, woof. Okay.
Crawford
it was,
didn't do
Nick.
jack.
That was the worst.
No, I
contract of all
agree.
time.
I just didn't expect both of you to bite my head off.
In
that's not
pro
even close.
sports, not just baseball. Worst
Right.
contract in pro sports.
Yeah, Carl Crawford is top 5 worst contracts in professional sports history. That was horrendous. I mean, maybe Albert Hainsworth, gets a nod in that top 5 list. He might get a nod in that top 5 list, and
yeah, he might. Holy moly, mighty!
Oh my god, but that was so bad. I mean, and then you had friggin' Kung Fu Panda. That was another terrible signing. When they extended Beckett, that was a terrible signing. The David Price contract was a terrible signing. That was Dave Dombrowski throwing money at guys for the 2018 World Series, and then they had to blow it up because they way overpaid for these guys to be subpar.
Right.
Yeah, Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid as genius by the Mets. It's it's $1 million. It's nothing.
Right, till 2034, I think.
So what, dude? No one would talk anything about Carl Crawford if the Red Sox deferred all that money for $1 million a year for the next billion years. We'd be like, whatever. We don't care.
Yeah, don't care.
Whatever.
Yeah. Bobby Bonilla Day was last Friday. By the way,
it was. I was going to say. That was going to be my contribution for heading home.
Friday was Bobby Bonilla Day, so that was all over Facebook. It's awesome.
Well, did you guys see that Max Scherzer's deferred money kicked in?
Mm-mm.
This was his first year making $15 million from the Nats until 27.
That's right.
Jesus. So he gets the 42 from the Mets, and he gets 15 from the Nationals.
Yeah, he's making $58 million this year.
A year, dude. Oh my god!
And the Nats are paying him $15 million from 22 until 27, and then it tears down a little bit.
Goodness, I loved
insanity.
I found the picture of it had Bobby Bonilla's player page traffic. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I posted.
Oh yeah,
and it had every day of the year here, and then July 1st it goes, choof, and then in July 2nd it comes back down.
Well, because you think about it, I mean, if you're less than 25 years old, you probably have no freaking idea who he is.
No clue.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You're like, Bobby Bonilla, who the hell is this guy? So you got to look him up.
Yeah. So I know we talk about this guy every week, but Nolan Arenado hit for the cycle last week.
I know, what the hell.
And the Cardinals had back-to-back home runs. Nolan Arenado, Gorman, Yepes, and Dylan Carlson had 4 straight homers for the Cardinals last week.
Not necessarily a murderer's row of power hitters on that strip either, but
boy, no, I think that's the first time that's been done since the Sox did it in 2004, right?
Yes, I want to say.
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense. I don't think I've seen it since.
That Chase Wright, that Yankees pitcher never got another chance. He never recovered. He never recovered. His career ended on that night.
Yep.
Right. And that lefty, he had some good stuff, and he was a promising kid coming up, and that never happened. He just never recovered.
Oh, the White Sox did it in the White Sox actually did it against St. Louis in 2020.
Really?
In COVID year, that doesn't count.
I think
COVID year doesn't count.
The COVID year doesn't count.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
That's fair.
Did they really?
Yeah, I was just looking it up, and it was
wow.
It was Moncada, Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu, and Eloy Jimenez hit home runs in 4 consecutive at bats.
I could have guessed all 4 of those probably.
Oh wow.
But yeah, crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, Brian. If you listen to ESPN, that was the first time ever because it was on ESPN.
Yeah, right.
The Red Sox
It's
one?
always the first time ever on ESPN.
Yeah, right. Goodness gracious.
The funny thing about the Red Sox one is the previous time that it was done was by the Dodgers, and J.D. Drew was the third guy in that section too.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was cool.
That was kind of a weird thing. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the common factor, right? He's your most underrated player, right, Sean?
Oh, don't even get me started on how underrated J.D. Drew was. Don't even get me started.
Just
We don't
about
have
as
enough time in this
underrated as
podcast for
Steven
that.
Drew.
Yeah, so the Red Sox.
Yeah.
No, so the Red Sox, and so it was Manny, JD, Mike Lowell, Jason Varitek against Chase Wright, who never was heard from
So
again,
second time.
in 13 pitches.
Yeah.
13 pitches. Yeah. Crazy. So cool. So
Brian with the correction. The first time it's been done in the first inning. It was the first time on a Tuesday in the first inning with the sun out that this happened.
Well, that's baseball.
I
That's
friggin'
baseball,
love.
fellas.
I love the records and stats they pull out.
It's so great.
The first time on a Tuesday during an afternoon game with the sun shining and a win from right field, this happened. It's like, okay, come on, guys.
Well,
really?
that's the best thing.
That's not a thing.
That's the best thing that, like, when Major League makes fun of that, and then Bob Uecker goes, "We've
Yes.
got that going for him." That's like the best part. That's so good. They're so good with that.
Yeah.
So good.
So the last thing that I have tonight was I randomly went to a Carolina Mudcats game, which is the single A affiliate for the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, I open up the program and I know the hitting coach. The hitting coach is Ken Joyce. I had their kids in Portland Rec like back in the day. And I was like,
Really?
no way. Yeah, he's been in baseball forever. So he started in 95 or whenever the Portland Sea Dogs started in Portland. He was the bullpen catcher. Then he became the bullpen coach. Then he became the bench coach. And so he got a ring in 97 with the Marlins because he was in the organization. Then he went to the Fresno Grizzlies for a while and got 2 or 3 rings with the Giants whenever they won their titles.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know where he was at this point, and he was just randomly in Carolina here. And I was like, no way. So I went up to the dugout and they said, hey, Coach Joyce, how's it going? And he came right over like we talked. It was really cool. So he's like, anytime you need tickets, just let me know. And I was like, perfect. I'm here every night. I'll sit right in this chair right next to the dugout. If you need me to chart games, I'll chart games. I'll do it all.
Oh, dude, that would be amazing.
I would love to just sit there and chart every night.
There was always something so satisfying about keeping the book. I used to love.
Oh my God, there was.
Yeah.
Like I was the kid that was at Fenway, and I was keeping the book for the Red Sox game. Like I always loved keeping the book, man.
When Sarah and I went last month to that Cardinals game, when the one game the Cardinals beat us, they hammered us that Saturday night. I was doing the book, and everyone around me was like asking questions. I'm like, you guys just leave me alone. Like I know I'm here in public, but like just leave me alone. Like I don't want to. I just want to drink my beer and just do the book. Like stop asking questions.
It was always fun to chart pitchers, keep the book. I used to love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you're a true baseball geek, when you love to keep the book and keep that thing pristine, and then go back and look at it later.
Oh God, nothing pissed me off more than watching somebody else do the book, and I'm just like cringing.
Yep.
Because we don't like. I have the whole entire infield on a run has to be completely colored in. No white.
Covered in. Yep.
No white.
Right.
You can't be outside the baselines. It can't be slot. Like stop with it. Stop.
And
give me the book.
that K needs to go both directions. I need to know if they're swinging or looking. I need to know.
Absolutely.
Of course.
I've gotten to the point where like, if like a runner goes from first to second, I put the number of the batter that got them there.
Oh hell yeah.
So
I like that.
So I know how they got to second base. But
I like that.
But I mean, my wife knows how to keep a book because I'm like, listen, if this is gonna work, like you gotta learn how to do this.
If you want to hang with me, this is how we roll.
And then we're like playing men's league softball. The score's like 35-30. She's like, I'm out of boxes. I was like, figure it out.
Yeah, you cannot keep men's league softball in a book. You need like pages and pages because
it goes so fast too. You just can't do it. But
no, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. But yeah, that was like really cool. I just opened up the program and I was like, no freaking way. I was like, that's unreal. So I went down and got
That's
to
cool.
talk to him a little bit before. So yeah, if you guys are ever down here, we'll get some Mudcat tickets. And yeah, it's a single A
hell yeah.
Brewers. They got some players there. They got a couple of kids that are hitting 350 or above.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I mean, probably won't be there next time we go, but yeah, they have a catcher. His pot time is stupid. He threw out 3 base runners when we were there.
And they just kept trying him, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
what are you doing?
I mean, after he throws out the second guy, he's like, what? Like, he's got to miss one, right? He just keeps sending guys all night long.
Yeah, I just can't. But I mean, and honestly, like the pitch clock does make the game go by a lot faster.
It does.
Like it is.
It does.
And you get the ball, you're throwing it. I mean, I always worked quick because I hated taking my time on the mound because it's like I'm lazy. I want to go back and sit on the bench. So the faster I pitch, the faster I get to go sit down. Like, but why are you laughing, Harrison? I'm serious. But
yeah, I get it. I get it.
Dude, there's nothing worse than being out on the mound and just baking in the sun. And like,
yeah.
I mean, I've had innings like that.
No, I'll
too,
tell you.
but,
No,
you know what I mean?
I'll tell you that. I mean, now that we're just ranting here, I'll tell you there's nothing worse than being in the field behind a pitcher that takes his time and still can't throw strikes. It's like, dude,
I hate that.
If you're not going to throw strikes, let's move this thing along. There is nothing worse than that.
It's like going out. It's like going out and playing golf with the guy who's going to shoot 120, but he's got to be Sergio Garcia before every shot.
Exactly.
It's like, dude. Exactly. It's like, dude. I know you're going to hit it in the woods. Just do it faster.
Just hit it.
Just hit it.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how much you get ready. It's going in the friggin' woods. We know it already.
That's so true, dude. And like, dude, for me, it was like the opposite. Is like I knew the guys behind me in high school couldn't catch.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I had outfielders take fly balls off the forehead. Like, I mean, it was bad. Like, that's how bad it was. We were 0-10 my senior year, right? And I had a sub-2 ERA. Let's just put it that way.
Oh.
I mean, it was brutal. It was so bad. But I mean, and that's why I learned how to work fast because it was just like, okay,
I was the same way. I always worked fast. I always had enough defense behind me that I could let them hit it, but there were games that were brutal because it was the same thing. You'd lose the game 4-3 and they scored 300 runs. It's like, come on, guys, really?
Yeah,
it was
brutal.
Pretty bad. But anyways, yeah, just to bring it back from that old trip down memory lane. Yeah, it was just really cool. That's another main connection that I thought was pretty cool. So at some point, maybe when they have an off day or a couple off days here, I'm going to reach out and see if he'd want to join us for an interview or something and talk about his career up. I think that'd be really cool. A wicked nice guy, like loves baseball. It's really cool. And his brother has umpired for years. He's umpired AA ball, all levels, and stuff like that. So they're like a baseball family. So it's really cool. But
Doug, you stole my thunder. I was gonna ask everybody if they knew who the MLB leader in WAR was, because I know Ken is a huge WAR guy, and he'd want a WAR update.
Big time WAR guy. I didn't even know about WAR until we started doing the show, and Ken started telling us about WAR. I didn't even know. No idea.
I know. Yeah. So your major league leader in WAR right now is Sandy Alcantara with a 4.5. with his 8-3 record, 1.95 ERA, 97 Ks, and his .95 WHIP. You don't generally see a lot of pitchers that are kind of at the top of the heap for WAR. In this case, it's really just him and Shohei, who's really his WAR comes more from offense than anything else. But pretty impressive to see a guy that's been that dominant on the mound is your major league leader in WAR, and he's actually on pace to be basically +6, +7, which would put him in an absolute like elite class. He's been fun to watch though when they play. Oh, it's amazing.
Like he's worth the tune in. If you don't care anything about that team, it's fine. He's worth the tune in. He's fun to watch. He is like, so fun.
Anybody on that staff, we've talked about this. Pablo Lopez is also must see. Like that guy's filthy too. It's just like something had to have happened. We've said this before in Miami for Jeter to just walk out like he did.
Makes
something happen. They have the young guys there. The pitching staff is there. I mean,
I think Jeter came from New York. He won titles in New York. He knew what a good owner, and we can shit on the Steinbrenners all we want, but back in the day, man, like they did what they needed to do to get the players to win. And I think Jeter, and I don't know anything other than just speculation, but I wonder if Jeter looks at this, he's like, do you know how good our pitching staff is? Like he's probably looking at everyone, he's like, do you know how good these young kids are? Like surround them with a little bit of talent, just like let me go get a couple of guys. And like we're in this thing.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily, if that's how it played out, I can't say I blame him at all for leaving.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So bad.
Yeah, it absolutely is higher than the Angels win total.
So
sure.
Trout and Ohtani are tied for 5th in WAR. They're both at 3.9. Trout's WAR comes all from offense. Ohtani's comes from a mix of offense and pitching, but his defensive WAR is actually a big negative because when he does play the field, he's not good out there. Got a great arm, but he's not a great fielder. And it's funny too, like when you look at offensive WAR, Rafael Devers is 2nd overall. When you look at his overall WAR, Devers falls to 11th because his defensive WAR is a negative number 2. He is a below average defender. Has been his whole career. He's better than he was, but he's still a below average defender, which holds him back.
Yeah, I don't know. The Angels, man, I can't. It's too bad.
Just
when
it looked like they figured it out, they imploded.
I don't even know where to begin with them, to be honest. I mean,
I can tell you, I hope Joe Madden does not get another job in Major League Baseball. I hope he's managed his last game, and I hope his lasting legacy is that this man showed up at 70-something years old. He showed up with a mohawk, and he didn't even get a chance to reveal it to the team because he got fired that morning. I hope that's his lasting memory legacy in Major League Baseball. I hate that guy.
God.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
I was going to say, I wish you wouldn't sugarcoat it, Sean.
Don't hold back.
Jeez.
I can't stand him.
That was almost therapeutic there for a moment.
It was. It actually felt very good. It did.
Yeah, I don't know. I just.
All right. No. Okay. Question, Sean. You are starting a major league team. You're a new GM. Got a major league team. You only have 2 manager choices: Aaron Boone and Joe Madden. Who are you taking?
Oh, God.
Aaron Boone.
Wow.
Aaron Boone.
Didn't even delay.
Aaron Boone.
Wow. Yikes.
And it's the wrong decision because Madden is objectively a better manager than Aaron Boone. But
if you like your catcher playing center field on a third batter shift,
I just can't do it. I know Madden's the right move. Like Madden's the correct answer, but he's not mine. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I get it.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, if Terry's an option, I'd probably take Tito, but
oh hell yeah, not close.
No, I mean, and Tito arguably isn't a great manager, but players will run through walls for that guy.
Or drink chicken and beer with him.
Yeah, that too.
Play cribbage, all that stuff, It's fine. Okay, so here's another question. If you you could take any manager out of the league and run your team, who are you taking?
Active manager?
Active manager. I mean, I know who you're going to go with probably.
Who?
Active manager. Showalter, you're probably going to go with.
No, I don't know. I mean, I think Buck has to be in the right team because Buck.
I was just going to say, it's got to be the right situation.
Yeah, right. If I could pick any team, any manager from any team to start.
Boy,
how much time do I have? Give me like 2 minutes to think it through. Give me like 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. Okay.
You guys keep talking. I'll come off in the background here.
Who would you pick, Harrison? Do you have one off the top of your head?
The manager. I guess there's probably 2 that I really like. But if I don't,
that could be the question. Actually, Nick, question of the week for next week. Brian's got a good idea.
Oh,
next week,
there you go.
Question of the week.
All right. We're not going to give our answers then. That'll be next week.
Love it. Okay. Give me a week.
Done.
Even better, Brian. More than 2 minutes. Give me a week. Thank you.
Okay.
I like that. Next week.
Look at that. Brian, do you want to be our producer or you're hired?
Because we're going to give that answer right now and move on, but
yeah, definitely. All right, so we'll throw out that question. It's something less we have to come up with next week.
So just to clarify, it's going to be who would we pick as an active manager, not all time, right?
Yes, active manager.
Active.
Who would
today.
You start?
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm not going to.
No, don't.
I was going to say like any bench coach could possibly be a manager too, but any active manager right
Active
now,
manager.
active
Somebody
manager.
managing a team right now.
Right.
Okay,
So you have 30 options.
Yeah. Like I don't want to see like.
Well, you don't have 30 options because like we know we're not taking Dave Roberts, so really you can take him off the board.
Right.
But like Connie, right. Like Connie Mack's not an answer.
Yeah.
Like you can't bring Connie Mack into this, or Miller Huggins, or anybody like that. So
fair enough.
Yes, active manager. That's not Dave Roberts, Joe Madden, or Tony La Russa. We'll laugh you right off the podcast.
Well, Joe Madden got fired, so you can't be mad.
No, but you can take Phil Nevin, who got immediately suspended for 10 games for losing his freaking mind.
Yeah, so absolutely. All right. So, Brian, thanks. We will do that next week.
Cora should get a nod, Randy. Stay tuned next week.
Absolutely. So before we go, make sure we like, subscribe, share our podcast, subscribe on YouTube, interact with us. We put tons of stuff out there during the week. You can comment, you can tell us we're dumb, whatever you want. Just interact with us somehow. And we'll see you all next week at 8.
Next Monday, not next Tuesday. Next Monday.
Next Monday.